Hi, this is Joanne Kobike, and I am the founder of Midlife Rewritten, your midlife coach. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming Denise Dunn. She hails from South Carolina, and she is the author of the blog, The Better Half. Denise has spent her corporate career in the area of marketing and customer relations, and she has graciously agreed to speak with me today. We met at the Influencers of Midlife conference in Atlanta a few weeks ago, and welcome, Denise.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So typically I start these interviews by asking, what's the biggest surprise that you had when you first realized that you were in that midlife space?
I would say there were two. One was physical. Oh my goodness.
Yes,
How
that's
much
always
time do you have, Joanne?
Strikes us first, isn't it?
That was difficult. And the second is really with the wisdom that comes with realizing you're closer to the end of your career than you are to the start of your career, and the metamorphosis that takes place. I'm still morphing, if you will, but it's been very surprising at how positive for me that has been. And I'm glad to say that it's been positive, because it didn't feel like that if you'd asked me that a year and a half ago.
In the very beginning. So does that mean, so you say that it's a little more positive for you now than you expected. So I'm guessing that meant you had certain ideas about what midlife was going to be about. So tell me about those and tell me why you don't think that's true anymore.
Well, that's a great question, because I remember when I was a kid, all of us thought 30 is old, 40, good gracious, are you going to make it? Are you going to still be around, right? Now I'm in my 50s. I'm like, I have so much more to give, and it's so much energy. You can't bottle me, So I think that my expectations for what it would be like are completely different than what I thought they would be. And that transformation is taking place for me personally. And it's interesting. It depends what day you ask, but I certainly didn't expect to feel empowered and wise and patient. I'm not particularly patient, but I have more patience than I've ever had in the past. So those were things that surprised me in terms of expectations of what midlife would be and the numbers that go with it.
So how do you think this transition occurred for you? Was it like a light bulb went off one day? You thought, oh, I'm better at this than I thought. Or was it gradual? How did that work?
Well, the physical part took a while. And so I think I was already kind of thinking of those things. And then, I got to a point where I was working, and I short story, realized I didn't really have a future in the direction I wanted to go in. So that parting really was a time for me to sit down and say, okay, I am still young. I still feel good. I'm still active. What do I want to be when I grow up? and I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
But I'm farther along, and that's how it came about. And it's been the last year and a half of that transition to get to where I am today.
Yeah. It does take time, I think, to kind of focus in on what you want for the future, and I think part of it is that we're not used to thinking like that. We're not used to thinking about ourselves as much. We're all about everybody else, nurturing everyone else. And, a lot of times women just don't even get themselves on the priority list at all.
That's so true.
It takes time to change your mindset and to realize that it's okay for me to think about what I want, and it's not selfish. I think those words probably spring to mind first of all when you think, oh, well, I might try to do this for myself. Oh, well, I don't want to be selfish. I need to spend my time or my money or my energy helping someone else. So it's nice, I think, that when you get to this stage and you have the opportunity to realize that, wait, I don't have to get up at 5 o'clock every morning and pack lunches and wipe little snotty noses and help them out the door. I can sleep in, and that's
Right.
okay. That doesn't mean I'm being lazy.
Right.
Those kinds of
Right. And I think there's also a point, at least the people I've spoken to, there's a point where you realize that life stage, and you realize you're likely over the midpoint of your life. And for the first time ever, you say, what about me?
Yeah.
Right. And that can make a left turn or a right turn, but really opening your heart to the possibilities that you have, that's been really cathartic for me. And that's something that I think we need to embrace if we can. Not everybody's on the same journey as you and I, or some other folks we've spoken to, but it's almost like it's liberating.
Yes.
If you can get to that point,
yes,
to where, I'm okay with making mistakes. I'm okay with the person I am. I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. And I will probably make a blunder, I don't know, by 3 o'clock today.
We all have it in
But
us.
I mean well, and I surround myself with positive people and not people who drain me. These are the kinds of things that I've come to realize during this transitionary time of midlife.
Yeah, I think what you said about surrounding yourself with people who are supportive and who don't pick at you and kind of tear you down. It's like, there's enough out there to do that to us, right? Why do we want to surround ourselves with people who are going to constantly call us into question or be negative about their viewpoint in life? And
Right.
yeah, I think you realize at this stage of the game, you can choose, right? It always seemed like, well, you had, if you were if you had a corporate career, you had to put up with people who you didn't really always want to be around, but you did that because that was what work was, right? Or if your husband was in a career that required entertaining, you were the beautiful hostess. And even if you didn't like that, person, whatever. But now you get to choose. And that's an eye-opener for women a lot of times, that they don't have to do this or that or the other thing. They can choose who they want to have lunch with and who they want to spend time with. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a big plus. So when you look back, what's the one struggle that you remember in making this transition that you'd like to share, and give our audience some insight into how you work through that?
Wow. I really struggled with my identity, I think, when I realized I didn't have a title, I didn't have an income, and I was in my early 50s, and I had applied for a lot of positions and had 0 face-to-face interviews. And I do live in a small town. I had 2 phone interviews, trying to figure out now what, right? That was a very difficult struggle for me. That almost affected my DNA until I said, time out.
Rethink this.
Yes. When you get to that place, and all of us deal with those kinds of downtimes, if you will, differently. When you get to that place, if you can say to yourself, I'm going to focus on what I do have and not what I don't have.
Yeah.
And start building from there. That was a big struggle, but that really helped me. And that was like the springboard for my metamorphosis, if you will, to say, I am worthy. I am pretty darn good at what I do. I am a good wife and mother and friend. Why am I focusing on negativity, which, there are some things you need to own up to, right? I'm not saying I'm perfect or any of us, but to focus on that positive and what you do have, as opposed to what you don't have or what you've lost or something like that. That was big for me. That was a struggle for me.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Especially coming from the corporate world, your identity is tied, like you say, to your job, to your company. When you go to you go to a cocktail party, you go to lunch with someone, the first thing is, well, what do you do? And when you're used to saying some big title in some company and people are like, oh, that's really cool. And suddenly you don't have that to say. What does that leave you, right? To say, oh, well, everything else seems to come out like an apology. And it's like, why am I apologizing for the fact that I'm, a stay-at-home mom and I, run my household and I make a beautiful life for my family? Why do I say that with this kind of, reservation or apology in my voice? It's like, yeah. And what you're saying about, you get to this stage and it's easy to focus on what you didn't get accomplished or what you haven't done yet or who you didn't become. But the thing is, you have such great life experiences from the things that you've done. And we don't give ourselves enough credit for those kinds of things. And we don't think about how we can translate those skills into something new and make a new life for ourselves. And it sounds like you were able to get past that hurdle. And it's really great. But yeah, like you said, it takes some work to do, right? And there are times it feels like you're in the deep, dark dungeons of your soul trying to figure out where the stairway is to get out of there.
Yeah, especially if someone in your audience is going through that, Joanne, I would say, first, know that you're not alone. Yeah. There's so many, it is absolutely normal for men and women to get to midlife and say, is this really all that I have? Know that you're not alone and know that it does get better. I think reflecting and, owning what you need to own that got you to where you are, and then dreaming big. What do you really want to do? Because now you get to choose, if you're lucky enough like I was. Yeah. Are you going to be A or B or C or D and take steps toward those things? Doesn't mean you have to make a big change today, but what can you learn? What can you gain that will get you in that direction? Because now you have a new path. And go for it.
Yeah. I think it can be daunting for women at this stage when they think about, well, maybe I could start a new career, but then they think about, all the work that went into starting their first career or, getting through college or whatever those early things were. And, it's really important to realize that you don't have to do it all at once, right? You don't have to suddenly become an overnight success. And truly, most of those overnight successes that we see on TV or wherever, they worked long and hard in the background to get where they are. And what they learned is to take small, manageable steps to build your confidence and your skills to keep moving you in the direction that you want to go. And I think, it's an important thing to consider. If you try to, what does they say? You can't eat the elephant except one bite at a time. It's terrible, terrible analogy. I guess I'm going to have to
visual. It's bad. It's okay.
All my animal rights people are going to be unhappy with me. But the idea is that you break things down into smaller, manageable steps. And it helps you to keep from getting discouraged and to keep from derailing yourself with all of those voices in your head that say, oh, you really can't do that. You really don't have enough skill for that. Who do you think you're kidding? When you have those early successes, those small things, you've got evidence. It's like, okay, pipe down back there. I'm doing this. See, I've done this and I've done this and I've done this. So I'm good. And
raised amazing human beings. There's so many things that we forget about.
Yeah, that's really true. So So at this stage of the game, my last question is about what you see for the future. And now that you have had these insights and you've managed to change your mindset about midlife, what are you looking forward to in the future?
Well, I have personal and professional goals. Excuse me. Um, on the professional side, I hope to build a business that shows support and community for those of us going through midlife, and help navigate those waters, because it is challenging. And when you're in it, it's like any other storm you've weathered in your life. It's hard to see past
Yeah.
the forest. And I even liken it to not just seeing the tree. I say you're seeing bark and ants, right? You're so
You're down in the dirt.
you don't see the forest, you don't see the trees, you see the ants and the bark, right?
Yeah.
And just recognize it's happening and know that you're going to be okay, and allow your metamorphosis to take place.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. I've been truly blessed to have choices that I didn't have 40 years ago. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful every day, and I'm excited to possibly help other people through this process, as are you.
Yes, yes. I think, like you say, you said you've gained more patience. Um, and I think it's important to recognize that you have to be patient with yourself, and you have to be kind to yourself, right? And allow that metamorphosis to continue. It's not going to happen at the pace that we necessarily want it to, right? We're
Guaranteed.
okay, let's go. We got things to do. But yeah, it doesn't work like that. And so to be able to relax and to let go and to trust that the right things are happening for you can be challenging at times. And so yes, having someone, someone like you to be able to talk to about that, and to hear inspirational stories from other people can make a difference in someone's life. So I think it's great work that you want to do.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome. So I think we're kind of at the end of our time here, and I want to be respectful of your time. So I just want to thank you very much. It's been really fun to talk to you, and I look forward to seeing your blog posts and the videos that you're doing. Yeah, I give you all kinds of kudos for doing videos, because they're hard.
Excruciating.
To see yourself. I mean, even as I do these interviews for people, and when I look back at them later and I see myself, I'm like, oh, what was I doing? Why am I scratching my nose? How come I'm moving around? But I try to remind myself that that's not the point. The point is to be able to get these messages from women out into the world. So I want to thank you again for being with me today. All right, you take care now. Bye. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. As a thank you for being here, I'd like to offer you my Glorious Second Act Workbook and Planner. It's a great tool to help you gain clarity on what it is you want next in your life, and to develop a plan to get you there. It's a totally free gift. The link is down below, so click the link, download your planner, and get started, taking action and creating a new and exciting second half to your life. I'm Joanne Kobike, your midlife coach. Stop by again for another episode of Modern Midlife. See you next time. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. As a thank you for being here, I'd like to offer you my glorious second act workbook and planner. It's a great tool to help you gain clarity on what it is you want next in your life and to develop a plan to get you there. It's a totally free gift. The link is down below, so click the link, download your planner, and get started, taking action and creating a new and exciting second half to your life. I'm Joanne Kobike, your midlife coach. Stop by again for another episode of Modern Midlife. See you next time.